There was a time when Saturday afternoons meant dusty trails, wide open skies, and the sound of spurs clinking on a wooden floor. And in the middle of it all was one man, tall, steady, and unmistakable. John Wayne wasn't just an actor. He was the living picture of the American West, larger than life both on screen and off. Today, we're looking at 10 moments, roles, and milestones that made John Wayne the face of classic American Westerns, and why that golden era slowly faded away. 1. The breakthrough ride, Stagecoach. In 1939, a young John Wayne climbed aboard a stagecoach and into Hollywood history. His role as the Ringo Kid introduced audiences to the rugged cowboy who would soon define the genre. With his confident stance and sharp-eyed stare, Wayne turned what could have been just another Western into a cultural landmark. It was the first time America saw him not as a background extra, but as the leading man of the frontier. That dusty road set the trail for everything to come. 2. The tall American hero. John Wayne wasn't just tall in height, he stood tall in spirit. At a time when the country was climbing out of the Depression and soon facing World War II, his characters became symbols of grit and perseverance. He carried himself with a steady calm, the kind of strength people wanted to believe in. He wasn't flashy. He was dependable, and that made him unforgettable. 3. In Monument Valley, his stage under the sun. When Wayne teamed up with director John Ford, something magical happened. Together, they filmed against the red cliffs of Monument Valley, turning the landscape into a character of its own. Movies like The Searchers and She Wore a Yellow Ribbon painted a picture of the West that felt timeless, almost mythic. Those wide shots of Wayne on horseback became the very definition of the American frontier. It was Hollywood, yes, but it felt like history. 4. Red River, A Harder Edge. In 1948, Wayne showed a darker side in Red River. Here, he wasn't just the noble cowboy. He was tough, demanding, even harsh. Audiences saw a man wrestling with leadership, pride, and the changing times. It proved Wayne wasn't a one-note hero. He could carry the weight of complex characters, and people respected him for it. 5. The Searcher's Soul, The Searchers. Perhaps Wayne's most haunting role came in 1956 with The Searchers. He played Ethan Edwards, a man torn between duty, vengeance, and deep prejudice. It was a story about the scars of the frontier, about how much a man could lose chasing justice. Wayne's performance gave the cowboy more than a gun and a horse. It gave him a wounded soul. To this day, critics call it one of the greatest westerns ever made. 6. The iconic walk and drawl. John Wayne didn't just play cowboys. He moved like one. His slow, rolling walk, the way his hand always seemed ready for a holster, and that easy drawl in his voice, all of it became part of his legend. You didn't need a movie poster to know it was Wayne. One silhouette, one spoken line, and everyone recognized him instantly. That kind of presence can't be taught. 7. War years and patriotic films. During the 1940s and 50s, Wayne became more than a cowboy. He was America's soldier on screen. Though he never fought in World War II himself, his films like Sands of Iwo Jima carried the spirit of the fight. Audiences saw him as a man who embodied duty and sacrifice. In times of uncertainty, Wayne offered a steady reminder of American pride. That connection tied his westerns to something even bigger, the idea of a nation's strength. 8. Television and the changing West. By the 1960s, the small screen began to steal the thunder of big westerns. Shows like Bonanza and Gunsmoke brought cowboys into people's living rooms every week. Wayne still drew crowds at the theaters, but the genre itself started to feel crowded. The world was changing, audiences were beginning to ask harder questions, and the simple good guy versus bad guy story didn't carry the same magic. Still, Wayne stood tall as the last great cowboy of the silver screen. 9. The Final Ride, The Shootist. In 1976, Wayne played an aging gunfighter in The Shootist. The story mirrored his own life, an old legend facing the end of his trail. The film carried a quiet sadness, but also dignity. Wayne gave a farewell that was both heartbreaking and fitting for the man who had ridden so far. It was his last screen appearance, and it felt like the closing chapter of the classic Western itself. 10. The Lasting Legend. John Wayne passed in 1979, but his shadow still stretches across the plains of American cinema. For decades, he represented courage, honor, and a certain kind of rugged individualism that people still admire today. While the Western may no longer dominate movie theaters, Wayne's image lives on in reruns, posters, and memories. He wasn't just the face of the American West. He was the heartbeat of it. Looking back, John Wayne wasn't simply an actor in Westerns. He was the Western. His presence, his voice, and his characters gave America stories to believe in and a hero to cheer for. Thanks for riding along with us down memory lane. If you enjoyed this look back at the Duke's legacy, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more journeys through the past. Until next time, keep the campfire burning and the trail ahead clear.